The president of Rwanda is going to be killed by the USA. His name is Paul Kagame. His death will not be a natural death. It will be at the hands of the U.S. Special Operations Branch. Now, I have no idea who these people were, so I had to go to Google later, and now I can read to you, as was written in the prophecy, what U.S. Special Operations means. They are the Army Rangers, Green Berets from the Army, SEALs from the Navy, Marines, the Marine Raider Regiment, something called the Night Stalkers, something called the Psychological Department, and others who occupy the elite top forces of soldiers. The Lord said that Paul Kagame's death, President Paul Kagame, is not going to die at anyone's hands except at the hands of special forces, meaning that his death will be caused by one or more of these arms of the U.S. covert military. The Lord says that this man is a bold man. This man is firm, uncompromising. He has gold. He has diamonds. The Lord was saying to me at 5 o'clock in the morning, he has copper and iron ore. He has the thing that goes into cell phones and everybody wants it, but he is in control of the mines. He only gives it out as he feels and by limited contracts. So I had to go and look. And here, I found that this mineral is called coltan. When I was given the African prophecy, I could not remember for the life of me what the thing was called. But when I went to look, what is it that goes into cell phones and computers, I said, Google told me that the mineral is called coltan, a highly desirable mineral that you use to make all forms of electronics work. The biggest producer of coltan is the Democratic Republic of Congo, the DRC. And the Lord was letting me know that DRC is directly linked to this prophecy. He says that the region of the DRC has historically suffered a curious habit of presidents who die one after another. And that region has been plagued by endless wars, skirmishes, and rebel leaders. And he said that you cannot divorce that shocking and painful instability, social instability. You cannot divorce what you see, the wars and the rebel leaders and the dying presidents, from the shocking amounts of coltan that they produce. So the coltan that the DRC has, you cannot separate it from why they have wars, why their presidents consistently die in a row, and things like that. And he said they also have high amounts of gold, silver, extremely high quality diamonds, iron ore, and something that he only called mineral rich dirt. And I will speak on that in a moment. There's another term for this, but that term didn't come to me easily, and I still do not know what this dirt is called. The Lord says that the DRC is very resource rich, yet it is one of the most militarily unstable countries in the world. And the Lord let me know that DRC is unstable directly because of the intervention of foreign powers into the politics of that country, which will be explained more. Now, this mineral-rich dirt, I do not know what it's called, but I saw it in a very old prophecy concerning China. I saw in that prophecy when the Lord showed me China was growing at such a fast rate. I think this was in 2019. I put this prophecy up. I saw China, and China was sitting there, and then China put out these big glass tubes. So I want you to imagine a tube as big as you want to. It was a massive tube, and these tubes came out of China like huge vacuum cleaner hoses, but they were made of glass. And so I could see what was passing through the tubes. And what I saw coming through the tubes were a lot of resources that China needs. I even saw in one tube that China was pulling eggs from a country. So China was pulling nothing but eggs. And I was wondering, Lord, who pulls eggs? Eggs are so fragile. Who would ship eggs to their country? Why can't a country produce their own eggs? And Lord said to me, Celestial, this country is growing at such a fast rate. This country cannot even feed itself. This country has no problem wrapping each individual leg because they are such hard workers, and shipping those eggs home to consume and to feed their rapidly expanding I don't know, economic base or whatever it is. And one of the things I saw being sucked up from Africa, which made no sense to me, was just what looks like red dirt. It just looked like red soil. And I was thinking, who ships dirt? And the Lord was saying to me, that dirt, inside that dirt, are tiny millions of particles of all kinds of minerals and things called rare earth that are extremely valuable. But because it doesn't always come in a big lump, like silver or gold might come in a lump, it is easier to get the dirt, take it there, and treat it for its value. So that is what I saw, this mineral rich dirt coming through the pipeline into China, and DRC has a lot of it. Now, God says that here are the reasons President Paul Kagame is going to be killed. President Paul Kagame keeps a very tight rein on the resources of Rwanda. So God says that he gives out limited contracts for the resources. And the Lord says that this does not suit America or other Western countries because they like very long leases. They like 30 or 40-year leases. They also do not like to comply with the laws of a country, especially when they feel, as God says, that they are better than that country. When they feel that this is just a small, irrelevant country, you don't have this, you don't have that. And do you know who we are? God says that American companies hate to abide by the laws, residence laws, tax laws, labor laws of other countries, and they routinely flout the laws, break the laws. They want special laws for them. But I already shared in past prophecies what happens when, as a nation, you build up companies that don't want to play by the rules. You build up companies that don't even know they're corporations, but they think that they are separate countries unto themselves. I shared in past prophecies, and I will not go into this too much because this is an African prophecy for Africa. But when you build monsters at home, it is those very monsters that I saw will come to the doors of American homes and take people away to kill. U.S. government has no money to speak of. And so I saw when they were carrying out their state mandated executions, they did not have the money to have a military that can go across this huge continent and get everybody. Amazon was helping them. Microsoft and companies like Apple and companies like companies even in the financial sector, these companies, believe it or not, you may not want to hear it, but that is up to you. These companies will have so much money in the future that they had standing armies. I didn't say mercenaries. I said standing armies. They could issue them weapons. Just the way a country has an army, these corporations had armies, and it was the corporations, people who were helping the New World Order cops in black come to the doors. And so to get back to this, the companies that come to these countries, they want the minerals, but they do not want a 3 to 5 year lease. That, the Lord says, Paul Kagame will review the lease at the end of the short term. He will come back to the lease agreements and say, you guys were mining 100 pounds per minute. At this rate, you were paying us, but 3 to 5 years plus inflation plus economics plus changes in the market, we're going to review the terms and we're going to go up to current market rate. The Lord says that America doesn't want that. American companies don't want that. And that is one of the primary reasons this man is going to lose his life, because he keeps making sure that the contract amount to be paid to the country will be based on current market value, based on what other people would pay in other countries like the EU. Paul Kagame is one of those people who feels if you will pay Britain this, if you will pay France this for their stuff, we want to be at that same level. He says that this country can easily suspend the license of a foreign company or revoke the foreign company's rights if Rwanda feels that African workers are being treated poorly, if African workers are being assaulted. He says that if the company is doing too much environmental damage, so mining and then not fixing the environment, mining and just leaving what is called a slag pit. You mine, and then you just leave this huge hole in the earth. You don't do anything to prevent, so that in 5 years, that whole area doesn't wash away the villagers, all the trees, their goats. You just destroy the landscape. He does not accept things like that. God says that foreign companies, Western companies, hate this sort of treatment. They prefer the type of leases that easily outlasts 2 to 3 presidents in a region, meaning that they want the kind of lease that is so long that you will sign it, and that country will have elections